we've all seen so many movies that surround racism or deal with slavery or deal with those massive, thoughts, right? But we never saw a movie. I had never seen a movie where it dealt with the everyday racism, the everyday slights, the things that still happen today, you know. And so that was our focus. The looks, the way people looks, the way someone clutches their purse when someone walks by, the coffee pot, going to the bathroom far away, the little things that add up to workplace racism that are so traumatic over time. And I had never seen that in the film, and so that was a sole focus. That was our sole approach to the racism of the film, is that this is a workplace. NASA, it was a great place to work, right? Fair and ahead of their time, for sure. But it happens everywhere. It happened everywhere at that time. And to show it from the perspective of three women who not only dealt with the racism, which was the top line, right? The sexism was neck and neck. White women were treated equally, not equally, but pretty poorly. So to deal with it at that level, at a level that you don't get to see often, that still happens today, was important for us. And we also felt that we had seen the other story so many times. This was a fresh way to look at it.
One of the things that recently happened after I was the Curiosity mission manager is I became a JPL Fellow. JPL Fellow it's like the highest level of technical accomplishment at the laboratory, and there are like 40 of us. But I'm the only female fellow,
Wow.
right? And so that said, I know that there are women close on my heels, and there will be lots of female fellows in the future. But I think all of us sit in a room, and a lot of times are the only female with a technical background to discuss something. And and early on, I actually would always wear my MIT brass rat, because I'm like, if they know I graduated from MIT, they're going to hassle me less, right? And so you have little techniques. But I think over the years, I don't even notice it anymore, right? Because we strive for excellence, and as long as and that's one thing I loved about the movie, right? It was about, no matter what the obstacle was, they were getting to the excellence, right? They were striving for excellence, and the women did that, and the people recognized that, right? And I loved the bathroom scene where, no matter what, she'd run to the bathroom, she'd do her work, she'd come back, and then, her boss, Harrison, he tears the sign down, right? So everybody got that it was about the excellence, and that no matter, that they had just had to move through it. So I thought that was neat.
I could relate to the societal issues that were presented in the movie. Growing up in Mississippi and Louisiana, even most recently, we still experience some of the separation and the mindset that is still persisted in the South. So watching that movie, and I know some scenes made you cringe, but it actually reminded me of situations of growing up. So in that way, I connected to those women by the fact that I'm not the only one.
Yes.
And it was one of very few movies that presented that experience.
Yeah, I'll have to pile on that a little bit. I really liked what Ted said earlier about them trying to focus on the subtle issues associated with racism. I think even though I grew up in Kentucky, which, those of you who study history would say, well, that was a border state. Well, it's kind of the South for those of us who grew up there. I was very fortunate in not really running across very much, like at all. Either I was just completely not paying attention to it, or I was very sheltered or whatever. But there was one instance that happened to me in my work travel life that really resonated with something that happened in the movie. The scene where Catherine walks in to the Space Task Force for the first time, and someone drops a trash bin and is like, this wasn't empty. I was like, wow, that exact thing did not happen to me. But on one of my first work trips, I was staying in a hotel, and I'd gotten up in the morning, I'm going down to go get breakfast, and I'm in front of the buffet line trying to decide what I want, and this, I'm sure very well-meaning lady came over to me and said, excuse me, we've run out of orange juice, and I was like, okay, I don't really work here, and she had this horrified look and scampered off, and I know that it probably didn't even occur to her that that was a wrong assumption to make, and I'm like, well, what am I wearing? Why does it, okay.
But, poor thing.
but that kind of thing, the automatic assumptions that people make, is something that resonates with me. Nothing like that ever happened to me at work, but outside of work.